If you get deported, would you regret your support to Donald Trump?
No me arrepentiría.
He's saying that he wouldn't regret supporting Donald Trump.
There's still a lot of machismo. There's still a lot of misogyny. And something that we need to say aloud is there's a lot of anti-blackness.
Are you all ready to talk about it? Hey, shout out to all of our new subscribers and members here on the channel. My name is Reese Waters, and this is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals going above and beyond to make our society worse. The kind of people you'll see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates. Now, we've addressed a number of different voting groups post-election. I've discussed right here on this platform the breakdown of the Latino vote. Now, if we look at the Latino voting through the years, you see a slide happening each and every election from 2016 to 2024. And that only makes less sense when you realize how aggressively Trump has been targeting Latinos from 2016 to 2024. Apparently, as he's intensified his attacks, he only gets more support from Latinos. Now, if you have a natural slide from if you look at Latino men, you have a natural slide from 31 to 23, then you might expect in 2024, maybe lose another few points. Hopefully you can mitigate that because of, I don't know, the mass deportation signs. Maybe that might mitigate the slide a little bit. No. The slide was intensified this time around to flip the Latino male vote to Trump. And I've even got into some of the comments.
I believe he's going to start deporting all the bad people.
Oh, it's the bad people. You mean the monster under the bed? Is that what he gonna get? He gonna get the monster under the bed, and then he gonna get the monster in the closet, and then he gonna get the people that hold up traffic during rush hour to try and parallel park in a busy street. Those three getting out of here. They out of here.
Trump won over the Alvarez family and many like them. Whether the economy improves and who exactly he chooses to deport may determine if he keeps them.
My family is Latino and a lot of them are immigrants. But at the end of the day, we're American.
What? There's more?
How many of you are U.S. citizens? How many of you support Donald Trump?
Well, that is good to see. I don't know that I would have gone on camera if I were not a U.S. citizen in that instance, but touche.
You're undocumented and you support Donald Trump.
I support Donald Trump for the economy.
The economy where? Huh? The economy where? The economy back in your home country? Is that? Because I don't see how you would be supporting Donald Trump based on the economy here when you're undocumented with the threat of being deported. And if I'm going to try and thread this needle for people like this, so let me get this straight. So you heard everything that he had to say, all the attacks that he made about the economy without internalizing exactly how our economy is doing with respect to the rest of the world when you are somebody that has connections outside of the country by virtue of you being an immigrant. So irregardless of your own personal experience, you find that you want to support him because of the economy. Meanwhile, you wouldn't be here if our economy wouldn't support you being here, because that wouldn't make any sense. So if I got this straight, you heard all of his attacks that he made about the economy, ignored the fact that you're only here because of our economy and how our economy compares to the rest of the world, and didn't hear any of the stuff he said about mass deportation or any of his sycophants for that matter. That has to be, I think that's what the Bible was talking about, with a camel going through the eye of a needle. I can't, that is almost impossible.
Two Hispanic families with mixed legal status in Houston with two different takes on President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House. This is the Espinosa's first gathering since Trump's win.
How many of you fear that deportation could impact your family?
Well, it's good to see a family with good language comprehension skills, because they should all be like that.
Cesar Espinosa, a husband and father, was a DACA recipient until this summer when he got a green card. His sister and brother-in-law are DACA recipients. His sister-in-law is a green card holder, and the rest of his family here are U.S. citizens. Some who are not present are undocumented.
Do they always stand like that around the table? Is that just seemed really unnatural, the way everybody was set up, right? Do the U.S. citizens always make the other people be on the other side of the kitchen? Because that's not right.
You're a green card holder. Your wife is a U.S. citizen. Why are you afraid of deportation?
I just became a green card holder after 33 years of being in this country. I don't think people understand the fear. It's a constant shadow hanging over our heads.
Now, I can't understand the fear because I've not been in that situation. I can only imagine what that fear would be like. What I can't imagine is living with that fear and deciding to exacerbate that fear by virtue of empowering the people that have been demonizing me and my kind for a decade. That's why we're here.
What was your reaction to Donald Trump winning?
I cried a lot. It was emotional. Half of my family, like, if they're gonna be here or they're not gonna be here, and how do you tell all of our kids? Like, my nephews, they're also our kids.
Now, what she is describing is something that I've been trying to hit on as much as humanly possible, because as we try and deconstruct the mentality at play here, and really this is not just with respect to the Latino community, this is with regards to MAGA at large. It is one thing if you are able to do the mental gymnastics to land in a place where you feel safe and invulnerable from the allegations and the promises and the threats that have been made all during the course of the campaign. It's a whole nother thing to very visibly and vocally assert how little you care about anybody else. Literally anybody else. When I said that we are unbelievably selfish, that's what I was talking about. Now, just to bring it back into this wheelhouse, we just saw a family in a similar position land in a place where they didn't care because they said that they weren't criminals, but they're okay to put everybody else on the craps table, though.
In what way do you think they're different?
The people that are coming here are the criminals, you know? The ones that did something bad in their country, they're running away from their law.
Despite having close family members who are undocumented,
migrant invasion,
they don't believe they'll end up in Trump's crosshairs. When you hear Trump promise mass deportations, do you worry about them?
Yes and no. Because the ones that I know, they're doing good. They're not breaking any law.
To tell people that this doesn't live in kids and children's mind and teenagers and young adults' life is a lie.
Gelasio Velasquez is an undocumented mechanic who has worked in Houston for 25 years.
Oh.
He plays in this park with his two U.S. citizen children, ages 5 and 9, and stands by Donald Trump.
So you support Donald Trump because of the economy?
For the economy, yes.
Now I just gotta take another run at that, because I just went on a whole rant about how silly it was for him to say that he supports Donald Trump on the economy. But I also would like to reassert the fact that the idea that black people aren't conscious of the economy or economically insecure when not only are we living with historic wealth inequality, but we have also seen the effects of systemic racism to the point where you have real life victims of racial violence, like we saw in Tulsa, not be able to get any sort of compensation or restitution, but we're going to go ahead and give it to victims of anti-white discrimination in college.
Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit, unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly.
That is the economic insecurity that black people are living with. We have seen a direct and purposeful destruction of black economic engines when we've been able to create them throughout our history. That is what we're living with. But now I gotta sit here and listen to people that are on the firing line of deportation talk about their economic insecurity.
But you don't support the anti-immigrant rhetoric.
I'm not support the anti-immigrant action.
Well, at least he doesn't support it. I guess we have to take whatever wins we can here.
Do you support his mass deportations?
No, it's not human.
Are you afraid that you could be deported in this mass deportation?
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
Okay, so let's go ahead and break this down. He doesn't support the mass deportation because he says that it's inhuman to do that to people, to treat people that way. But you're okay to vote for people who you would characterize as inhuman if they did the thing they said they were going to do. You're okay to vote for people who you characterize as inhuman for the promises they made for the economy, which is the reason that you're here. We cooked.
Espinosa runs a migrant advocacy group and says many people are afraid and have called him in tears.
I think there's a heightened sense of fear.
Explain why Latino men are going to Trump.
Democrats forget the promise when these guys are in the office in Washington. The Latinos want a better nation.
What nation? Huh? What nation? What nation you talking about? I'm just trying to figure out what nation you talking about, because Stephen Miller, now the White House head of policy, talked about America being for Americans. Yeah, we've heard about poisoning the blood, and we've heard about bad genes, and we've had some people actually say the quiet part out loud.
I voted for Donald Trump for one reason only. His policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States.
So I'm trying to figure out what nation you are talking about. Also, the fact that you abandoned the Democrats because you said they forgot their promises. Well, you better hope that the Republicans forget theirs. Yeah. The best you can hope for is that the Republicans forget their promises.
Espinosa believes some of the Latino support for Trump was a vote against the prospect of the first black female president.
There's still a lot of machismo. There's still a lot of misogyny. And something that we need to say aloud is there's a lot of anti-blackness.
Are y'all ready to talk about it? Huh? Are y'all ready to talk about it? I've talked about it here before. I'm looking at Hillary Clinton. I'm looking at Joe Biden. And then Kamala Harris. What could it be that caused the Latino vote, the Latino male vote specifically, to crater to such a degree. I mean, a slide is one thing. You lost 8 points from Clinton to Biden. But to lose almost over 30 points with Latino men what could it be about Kamala Harris that would cause that to happen? I've seen Joy Reid talk about it.
There is this sort of trying to be super American when people come here, because I know some African immigrants who are all the way Trump. And it's this idea of, I want to be with the side that's waving the biggest flag. I want to fit in. And there is a huge element, to be honest, of anti-blackness in a lot of this. Anti-black Americanness specifically. And Paola and I have talked about this, that there is a part of that anti-blackness is a piece of it. Even though Enrique Tarrio, who's the head of the Proud Boys, is a black Latino, but he's down with white supremacists, down with them.
But it was something that even noted ally AOC couldn't bring herself to mention.
But when it comes to people who split their ticket, I think a lot of people cited several different things. One is there is universal frustration in this country. Much of it, I actually think, justified, that is raging at a political establishment that centers corporate interests, billionaires, and puts their needs ahead of the needs of working Americans. And we know that we can either channel this righteous rage, because there are people whose SNAP was cut off, their child tax credits were cut off, but they're seeing people like Elon Musk getting tax breaks and kissing up to Donald Trump in order to do so.
But they vote for, then why vote for Elon Musk and Donald Trump?
And I think that, of course, is the question.
It makes no sense.
And I think part of it has to do with the fact that, and I think we're still in a process of going through the data. It's important to say that.
I, for one, applaud his ability to call a thing a thing. Now, there might be some of you that say, well, what about Obama? Obama got massive Latino support. And to that, I would say he did mention the machismo, so obviously her being a woman came into play. I would also say that back in 2008 and in 2012, when Obama was running, we were in a very different place as a country. I would call it the pre-Trump years. Yeah, we're in a very different place. We weren't in a place where people would characterize low-wage jobs as black jobs. We weren't a place where you would say that Haitians were eating cats and dogs. People were dog whistling. Okay, dog whistling was absolutely nothing new, but the willingness to lean directly into the racism and the sexism wasn't quite as evolved in 2008 and 2012, because there was the widespread perception that would be off-putting to a large portion of America. One thing that we have learned by virtue of having gone through the Trump years is how high their appetite really is for that kind of thing. So really putting the race and the gender on the table to the degree that it was is something that is altogether new.
Velázquez says he hopes Trump finds compassion for immigrant fathers like him who are not criminals.
You hope he finds some compassion for immigrant fathers like him that are not criminals. So it's funny that we just came out of the anti-blackness comment. You chose to vote for the man who promised mass deportation and hope that he grows some compassion which we haven't seen in 80 years. You hope this man grows some compassion?
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Oh, maybe that's what I said.
So you chose to vote for the man who promised mass deportation and hope that he grows some compassion we have never seen from him in 80 years of life, over the woman who very vocally asserted her willingness to protect and keep families together that have immigrated here regardless of status. I mean, there's double standards and there's that.
If you get deported, would you regret your support to Donald Trump?
No me arrepentiría.
He's saying that he wouldn't regret supporting Donald Trump. So you're really not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about your children and the future of your children.
Yes, I want the better for my children.
Ooh, boy. Ooh, where do I start with this one? Okay, so you wouldn't regret your vote for Donald Trump, even if you're deported because you want better for your children. So how do your children's lives look when you're deported? How do your children's lives look? I mean, is that your way of low-key saying you're a terrible father? I mean, honestly, I want better for my kids. And it would actually be better for them if I was as far away as possible. I mean, I spend time with them for myself, but I realize that I'm ultimately being harmful. So if I'm deported, it'll be better for them. What is your ability to try and protect them from potentially getting caught up in a deportation web when you're deported? I can't even put myself in the mindset of the kind of person that would say, I wouldn't regret it if I'm deported because I want better for my children. That is almost as absurd as your economy argument earlier. And let's also not ignore the fact that the two parties laid out very different ideas for what the future for your children might look like. So you want to put your children's future in the hands of the people with the red hats who want them to speak English and shout at them to go back to where they came from every other week. You want to put their future in their hands while you're deported. That's sound.
Cesar says he feels guilty for bringing so much uncertainty to his family.
What's it like for you to see your wife go through this and the emotions that she's going through?
I apologize to her a lot. But we fell in love right away, and we got married almost right away, because when you know, you know.
We asked Velázquez and Espinosa the same final question.
Do you have a plan in case you get deported?
I respect that decision. I leave the country. I'm not coming back.
Well, I will give him credit at least for respecting that decision. I will give him credit for that. Although I would also say that saying that you respect the decision and you'll leave the country and not come back is probably the smartest thing that you should say on camera.
There is a plan. We've talked about it openly with our family.
Turns out these two Hispanic families with two different takes on Trump's win have the same plan if they get deported. They would go to Mexico as a family.
By the way, you might remember Lulac from the video we did all about the voter intimidation efforts down in Texas.
They scared the hell out of me.
87-year-old Lydia Martinez says she was among those targeted by the search warrants. The longtime LULAC member helped senior citizens register to vote.
I feel that they're going to stop a lot of us from going out and doing our work, and that's what they want.
She said officers questioned her for hours, confiscated her phone and computer, and made her wait outside as they searched her home.
I said, let me get dressed. And she said, oh, go outside.
What were you wearing?
My nightgown, and I had all these policemen around me. It was embarrassing, humiliating. I was so angry. It was horrible.
Now, my takeaway from this particular piece is that the first family really seemed to process things the way that I would have hoped most Latino families would have processed things. So that at least was affirming to my basic ideas of logic and cause and effect. As far as the second gentleman and the mechanic, he also helped me understand exactly how we got into this place by virtue of his complete lack of logic and an inability to see cause and effect, to the point where it actually, you know, these things don't make any logical sense. I get so confused, and then I see somebody give explanations like his, and I'm like, those people are out there. There are really, I didn't think the results made sense, but when you tell me that these people are out here, now I get it. Now I get it, and that makes a whole lot of sense. As far as if you are on the left, if you are a progressive, and you're trying to figure out how to pick up the pieces and move forwards, you tell me how you win people like that. You tell me how you win people like that. I got it. I got the answer. Yeah, they gonna run white men for a while. They gonna run white men for a minute on the left. We can definitely expect that. Thank you guys so much for watching the video and supporting the channel. Like a lot of you, I'm moving forward one day at a time. A little unsure of exactly what our world will look like. And as far as I'm concerned, that means the media landscape at large, but specifically here on YouTube. And one thing that I did want to do was try and ensure that I could connect with you guys regardless of our evolving world. And two ways of doing that. One is my mailing list. And I send out a newsletter every so often, and you can sign up for my newsletter and get added to the mailing list by sending me an email at reese@reesewaters.com, or you can just sign up at my website, reesewaters.com. The second way is memberships. We launched memberships and it's gone extremely well. I'm trying to drop more and more membership content every single week. And you can find the link for membership in the description to all of my videos, including this one. And that gives me the ability to put out content and connect with you guys completely independent of the algorithm and who's in charge and who's deciding what topic and issue to favor and what to suppress. And so that is something that I think will become significantly more impactful as we move forward into a second Trump presidency. So I got the newsletter and the mailing list. You can sign up on my website, and I also have membership. The link is in the description to this and every video. Again, thanks so much for being a part of this channel. We're gonna ride it till the wheels fall off.